real quick. Okay, cool. So welcome to the, what is it? What month? November team call? Good God. Um, we are lucky to have Niki Harings tonight. She agreed to chat a little bit with us. And she, so you kind of know who her background, what her background is. She's a certified life mastery consultant, yoga instructor, Reiki master, and she's transitioning currently out of her position as a professor of wildlife science. She has a really cool program that she's going to tell us a little bit about that she does online, right, Niki?
Mm-hmm.
Online. And she's going to talk a little bit about self-limiting beliefs and whatever else comes to mind for her. So I'm just going to kind of give her the floor, and then the rest of us will just mute so she can tell us all her goods. And awesome, we've got more girls. Hi, Carrie Jane, Kasaya, Hannah. Hi, girls. Okay, so I'm going to mute too because I know I have a little bit of background noise. So go for it, Niki. And welcome, by the way. Thanks for being on here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a total honor to be here with all of you guys. I'm enjoying my workout journey with you all, so it's kind of fun to play around in a different realm of our transformation. And so I'll just tell you a little bit more about myself. I have been a professor at the university for a while, and just kind of noticed in my life some discontent, that there was something a little bit more that I wanted. I felt like I had this still small voice just kind of seeking to emerge, kind of I didn't really know exactly what that was going to look like. And then all of a sudden, this was in February, this program kind of fell into my lap. So I've been doing like business builder meetings with my doTERRA team because I'm also a doTERRA wellness advocate. So I've been helping other people with that. And I guess just like teaching and supporting my students, I felt like I had a little practice on helping people get clear on what they wanted to create in their lives. And so when I learned about Mary Morrissey and this program that she has called Dream Builder, I knew that it was in alignment with what my core beliefs and what I wanted to maybe help other people create. So I decided to jump all in and invest in myself and become a life coach or a life mastery consultant. And it's honestly been this crazy whirlwind of an experience and amazing beyond belief. I feel like I'm quantum leaping through time right now, just creating what I love, what I want. And so the program itself is really looking at all 4 domains of our lives separately. So we look at our health and wellness, we look at our relationships and our vocation, so our creative expression, what we want to, the work that we do in the world, and then also time and money freedom. And so I know that for me, I've always had some paradigms around money and things like that. I think most people can relate to that. And so I had to really learn the difference. Okay, so what is a paradigm and what is that? And how do I shift to be able to create more for myself in any of these realms? And I think most people have 1 or 2 of those areas that they want to focus on even a little bit more. And so like the most important step is to really start listening to that still small voice. What are your longings and what are your discontents? Because it's all feedback, that's all information, and it's so powerful. Because what you bring to the world, you're unique, your thumbprint. You know, nobody else will be like you. So to really bring in that full expression of what that is, we start listening to that voice and honoring the longing and discontent and listening to what might be shifting us into a maybe a little bit different direction, or even stepping out of our comfort zone. And so I think that's a huge part of it, is because we kind of all come, I think, well, maybe we're born limitless, because if you think of a baby like holding out and trying to walk for the first time, they just keep getting up. They don't say like, oh, I guess God just didn't have that in my plan, or I just wasn't made to be a walker. They keep getting up until they do it. So they don't have that paradigm. They don't have any limiting beliefs. They just keep getting up until they're cruising along, and they have that reach or yearning to get to something, and they're seeing the other people doing it. And so we really almost download this operating system that is our limiting beliefs, because we're taught like, oh, stop daydreaming, or this or that. And so we tend to quiet that, and we kind of end up doing a lot of what society maybe kinds of trains us to do, and we're doing that unintentionally even. And so, I mean, how many of you, just raise of hand, just know that on some level in your life there's a little bit more seeking to emerge, that you want just a little bit more, whether it's in health and wellness, or relationships, or your vocation, or time and money freedom? Like, I know I do. And so I'm just excited to just scratch the surface on some of this content, because with the program we really help we excavate and really help discover what that dream is, because it's not uncommon that people are so far removed from that they don't even know what their dream is, and that's normal and that's okay. And there's other people like that do know what they want, but they don't really know how to create it. And what's true is that like we are all more powerful and have way more potential than we can even imagine. We have this limitless resources available to us if we're working at the right, I guess, if we become the frequency to that vibration, if we can match that frequency. So this whole program is about coming from the dream instead of trying to go to it. And so I do have we can kind of workshop some of this if we want, if you guys have pen and paper and kind of want to play along. And so maybe think of one vocation, or one or something, either if it's health and wellness, or your career, your time and money freedom, something maybe that you're really longing for, or you want to see a shift. And instead of us saying like, I want this or I want that, we get into it by imagining it as if it's already happening. So we start the sentence even with, I'm so happy and grateful now that. And so whether, like for me, I guess, like this is already coming true for me on so many levels. Like in February, I signed up for the program. I went to a training in June, and it was just like hitting fast forward. And I finished the training and certification in September. Yeah. And then in October, I had already created 2 programs. So I have 2 coaching programs that are going right now. And I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think, and then I was deciding like, okay, I'm going to step away from being a professor. I like it, but I don't love it. It doesn't support me financially at all. And I think I'm learning, I was discovering my own value, my own self-worth, and I was like, I can't keep putting all my energy here. It's like a drain. I feel like I was just flushing my energy down the toilet. And I was like, I'm worth more than that. I have more to offer than that. And so once I kind of got in touch with that part of me, I just went for it, and I trusted the process. And now instead of like leaving the university after May, I found somebody to teach for me, and I'm done in December. So I'm so happy. And I already know that I'll be supported financially and have that freedom to jump in and do this full time, and even have a little freedom. Like I'm going to Cancun for Thanksgiving. So things are already manifesting in such a huge way that I guess until you really step into it, it's hard to explain, but we're working with these invisible laws of the universe or God or spirit or whatever that we're always working with no matter what. But it's mathematical in its precision, this code of life. And if we become a vibrational match to that, then we can create whatever we want. But it has to be, there's a way to test your dream. So, which we'll do. Um, but so let's deep dive into one or more of these areas. So maybe you're thinking, okay, I want to dive into. I mean, you guys are all fitness. Are you guys all building a business with your coaching? And so maybe you have a particular goal on what you want to create. So maybe I'm so happy and grateful now that I make $300,000 a year in my coaching business, and I have this time and money freedom that I'm able to spend more time with my kids and go on vacation or fly my family out to visit me. And so getting really clear and specific on that. I'm so happy and grateful now that I teach this many classes per week, and I have this many clients per week, and I have this much time for myself to work out and step into my own health and wellness and really show up and demonstrate what I'm offering to the world. And so really creating that picture, that image, and then even stepping into it. One example for me is I was like, okay, I live on a farm and we are kind of off the grid, so I can't get internet out there. And I'm like, well, this job I'm creating, I need to have internet. And right now I'm at our little Airbnb because it's empty, but it's been full lately. So I'm like, I need an office. And so in my mind, I closed my eyes and I envisioned this office. Like, what would be a command center for my soul? Somewhere I want to show up. I want to, I can't wait to serve and help people and, just kind of do that deep dive with people and just love where I am. And so I imagined this room. I had the color of the wall, the window, the light coming in, even some of the things that I would have, like I have a little hourglass that's a reminder to me that we have this limited amount of time that I don't want to waste, that I want to make the most of it, because I know, we're all gonna, at one point, there's gonna be the last day that we lay our head on the pillow, and I don't want to have any regrets. Because nobody regrets things that they do. They may have some regrets on the things that they didn't do. And so that's a good way to kind of fast forward, and then think back, would I have loved my legacy to be, or what would I have, what will I be content with that I created in the world? So getting clear on that vision. And so I really stepped inside that office. I saw my desk, I saw my computer, I saw, people on my, talking to people on my computer. And all of a sudden, I was abundant in possibilities for offices. I was hearing it from all these different people, all these potential office spaces. Just like when you buy a new car, I have a white CRV and I didn't really notice them before. And then when I bought one, I was like, wow, they're everywhere, and so whatever we're interested in, we become abundant in. And so it's true even for our discontents. If you're if you're interested in going out of debt, you have a vibration to the word debt. So instead of that, you'd say, I want to be financially free. And so there is a real power to that, because if I tell you, don't think about the Statue of Liberty, don't think about her holding her torch, don't think about her on an island standing tall, I mean, what are you thinking about? The Statue of Liberty, right? So it's the same thing with whatever it is that we're trying to create. So we have to really not focus on what we're trying to eliminate, but focus on what we want to have happen, what we want to create. And so writing that down, putting it pen to paper and getting really clear on that has a lot of power to it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but because you're going to create something anyway. We're going to get out of the bed. If you want to create a day with your head under the covers, then you're creating a day with your head under the covers. And so you can't really make a mistake at this. It's just about really getting started, getting clear on that vision, coming from the vision. And then the more we think about it and the more we get in alignment with that, then we start coming up with ideas. We'll start thinking about the steps that we need to take to create that. But what's really fun is testing the dream, because even our paradigms start to come up right away. Like, oh, I can't do that because of this. I can't do it because of this. But we have to look at at ourselves as being way more powerful than our circumstance, our condition, anything that's going on in our situation right now. So at the level of fact, like, sure, maybe I have some bills coming up that I'm not sure how, or maybe that's true for somebody, but on the level of truth, we have access to limitless resources. And if we can become a vibrational match to that, and maybe we don't worry about the how, we let go of the how, put the how on hold, and just stay focused on the vision, staying focused on the dream, and being open, like keep a corner of your mind open to the possibility that there are ways or revenue streams that you're even unaware of. So if you're doing the math, well, this paycheck is only going to be this, I can only get this many hours and this and that, but you really never know. You never know where it could come from, but you can make it welcome. So you can't make it happen, but you can make it welcome. And then things start to shift. And so it's a process. This whole thing is a deep dive. And so the program itself is a 12-week program. And so we move kind of slow. We start to really help discover the dream and dive into the content. And so for me, we discover the dream, and then we start to kind of build the dream and then become it. And so there's some other stages in there, because there's really a gap from the life where we are right now and the life we want to create. And so that bridging phase is so important. And it almost feels like magic. But there is a science to it, and I've met so many people. This last Dream Builder Live event that we went to, it's like the program on steroids, because you're creating really quickly in 3 days, and it's really intense. And it was just, there were 750 people there, and so many of them were just having amazing things happening to them, because I met some of them in June and then saw them again in September, and it was like all these new people, like they all turned into these new people and had a different definition of what success is in their life. And so I understand too that sometimes we feel guilty, or like, oh, I don't really deserve that, or my life is really good, what am I complaining about? And it's not about being ungrateful or being unhappy. It's just about stepping into our full potential and loving our life, not just liking it. Like, not just having a good life, because good can be the enemy of great. So why not make it great in every domain in your business, getting really, really clear on what you would love. So to test the dream, so if you have something, maybe hopefully some bullet points or some notes, some things that you've jotted down for either your health or your relationships or your vocation or time and money freedom. So how we actually test the dream is by first asking, does it give me life? So do you feel more vibrant? Do you feel more electricity, more energy? And then the second one, does it align with my purpose and core values? And so there's one example that Mary tells a story about, that this woman was like, I want more adventure in my life. I I just, I didn't get to have an education, and I haven't really done a whole lot, and I cut hair. So she was thinking, well, it'd be really cool to go on a cruise ship and cut hair and whatever. And then she was hemming and hawing about it, thinking like, well, my husband's really great. He's really supportive, but, but there's a part of me that doesn't feel quite right because, he'd be happy watching our 3-year-old daughter, but how would she feel for me missing a year of her life? And it's like, whoa, if you're not feeling good about that, listen to that, turn up the volume on that, and get curious about that. And so obviously, who wants to leave their child for a year that isn't in alignment with her core values? But asking, keeping that question, well, what would I love? What would I love? That is a highly calibrated question. She finally got a better answer that, my dad had told me that, I wasn't college material, that, the ladies, raise their kids and just stay at home. But the part of me really always wanted to go to college. And so she's like, she had decided, okay, I'm gonna try this out, see if I am college material, and that was a paradigm of hers, that she had been told that she couldn't do it, and she's like, well, let me find out for sure. And then she zipped through the program in 2.5 years, and her 3-year-old daughter ended up being in her first kindergarten class. And so her idea of adventure and excitement was hanging out with these kids, and this brought something. She was alive when she talked about it. So I even challenge you to maybe even talk to somebody, maybe somebody on here, partner up and workshop it. Like, you haven't talked to each other in 3 years. So there's something magical about this 3-year mark, because our mind can't justify saying that I'm going to create this in 3 years. But our mind can sometimes talk us out of what we can create in a year. It's kind of too close. But in reality, once you have that 3-year mark, chances are, if you're supported in this and you're really moving into that and you're staying with it, then it starts happening much, much faster. I mean, already for me, I was like, I want to be a successful life coach, and it hasn't even been a full year that I had this dream, and it's created, it's happening, I'm in it, I lived into it. And so anything's really possible. But maybe even workshop it with somebody, like, I'm so happy, or it's so great to see you, I haven't seen you in 3 years, tell me what's happening in your life. And then the other person, like, wow, my life is great, I'm so happy and grateful now that. And then you share that, and you give as much detail and specificity as possible to really paint a picture for that other person and paint a picture for yourself, so you can see it and feel it and sensorize it. And there's just so much power in that. And if it doesn't light you up, then that doesn't give you life. So then your dream isn't big enough. And so another question you ask is there good in this for others? And so sometimes we're a little iffy about that. And like, one example, I have a friend who is like, well, I have a selfish dream. I just want true love. I want a soulmate. And I'm like, that's not selfish at all. Like, anytime you see two people presencing love in the world, don't you feel kind of blessed by that? Or you feel happy or joy? Like, I think that it's contagious. So, I mean, it might not appear directly, but creating that love in the world is magical. So even that isn't selfish. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but if there's some good in it for others, because really we're a part of this universe. We're all one. We're this one energy, and we're all connected. And then another question is, will it cause me to grow? So we're testing the dream. Will this cause me to grow? And the way you know you're growing is if your paradigms start to come up, if you're feeling a little fear around it, because it's just not something that you've done yet. And so that's really natural, it's human. But I love the quote, feel the fear and do it anyway. Or, if do it afraid, because that is when you grow. And it's just because we're out of our comfort zone. And so that image of like here's your comfort zone and then an arrow, like this is where the magic happens, right? So you really have to kind of press yourself out of that comfort zone, which isn't, it's like, oh, I don't want to, but you know that once you get there. So I mean, I'm sure most of you have had an experience maybe teaching your first class to your clients, right? That there's like, okay, I'm a little nervous, but you do it and it feels good, and afterwards you're like, I'm so glad I did that, because there was some growth that happened right there, a little shift happened. And so it's about really stepping into it and knowing that when that fear is coming up, that this is what it looks like when it's all working out. And the fear is just feedback. It's like, okay, something magical is starting to shift and happen. And then once you step beyond that, then it casts a whole new light of awareness and maybe what you want next. So, I mean, even if you're already experiencing success in your business, you get to this green growing edge where you're like, I still feel like there might be something more, and that's good, as you're still growing. It never ends, right? It's about who we become in the process. So yeah. So I hope that you'll do it afraid or step into whatever it is. And then the fifth one, and this is my favorite one, is, do I need help from a higher power? In order to do this, do I need help from a higher power? So if you already know the step by step that you would need to take to make the dream happen, then your dream isn't big enough, that there's more. And I mean, and it can come from wherever, but because I mean, even for mine and stuff that I still want to do, I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to happen, but I'm not going to worry about the how or justify why it can't happen. I'm just going to stay the course, believe in the dream, stay in the vision, and make it welcome, and stay at that vibrational match to it, because it feels pretty good even just being there. You just begin to attract people who are speaking the same language, and people jump on this journey with you, and it's amazing, and I feel so lucky to have this to share with anyone. So you want a yes to all 5 of those questions. Does it give me life? Does it align with my purpose and core values? Is there good in it for others? Will it cause me to grow? And do I need help from a higher power? So that's when you know that your dream is big enough in it. And I mean, invite you all to kind of dive into each of those elements, each of the domains of your life, because even if you're really successful in one area, when you're up leveling it, when you're challenging it, everything else starts to kind of shift into a higher vibration as well. And so getting clear on that, ask yourself every day, what would I love? What kind of day would I love to create today? And even being grateful for everything that you have already. Bless everything that you have already, and that sets you on a different frequency. And I love the idea of being grateful for what I'm expecting to happen in my dream, being grateful for it already before it happens. Just like when you have family flying in to come for a visit, you're really excited and grateful before they even walk in the door, before they even got on the plane maybe. And so we can come from that energy of being grateful even before it manifests or we live into it. So I think I'll open it up for any questions if anybody has anything in particular, or I can talk even a little more about the program otherwise. But does anybody feel like this is crazy? Who is this chick? Or
I think it's awesome, and I'm sure people have questions, but I have one too, just to kind of talk about your program a little bit more. So everything is like so in line for what we already talk about and what we're always trying to ingrain in ourselves and our team members. So this is so on point with like how we view life and growing a business. So I love this so much. What would you say like the time commitment is for this 12-week program, like per day?
Okay, so there would be some content involved, some curriculum, and they'd be recordings online that you would listen to. Sometimes it's an hour or hour and a half, roughly, of content that you're listening to, and then there's some life work that goes along with it instead of homework, life work, or home play that you kind of dive into some of these questions. So we're just getting more and more clear with everything, with all of the questions and the curriculum, and then there's an hour long or up to an hour. I hardly ever go a full hour, a group call, where I kind of overview some of the content, maybe do a little bit deeper dive, and then open it up for questions so people can kind of talk about their challenges or maybe things that maybe some kind of amazing happenstances happened, and that seems to happen a lot, like, oh my god, this happened and it's so in line with this week's curriculum, or it's pretty fun to kind of dive into that. So I usually encourage people to listen to them over and over, because there's little nuggets that you get. But I mean, if you listen to everything once, then I'd say your commitment is maybe 3 hours a week. Yeah. Or if you like, I don't know, I just play it while I'm cleaning or washing dishes, or especially at the Airbnb, I listen to everything over and over and over and learn something new every time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. Does anyone else have any specific questions for her on anything?
I kind of have a question. So when you started stepping into this career or your journey, I guess, did you have people that kind of were holding you back, or that maybe didn't agree with what you were doing? And I don't know, just do you have any experience with that?
I expected there to be a lot of pushback, or mostly it was one of my paradigms. So a part of me that, there's always a part of you that wants to go forward, and a part of you that has this draw to the familiar, or draw to entropy. Mm-hmm. And so that voice that was holding me back was like nobody's going to want to listen to you, or who do you think you are, or and so I kind of envisioned that that's what people would say. But to my surprise, like, everybody has been so supportive. My family, even the other professors, they're like, maybe I need to come talk to you. I was like, cool. Yeah. And yeah, just my colleagues, and I've gotten more positive feedback than anything. So very grateful for that to have that support system, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think people surprise you, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even if people were to say something that wasn't in alignment with what I felt, I mean, I know deep down that I'm on this mission. I want to share this work with as many people as possible. And I've kind of been a rebel in that way in the past, even. Like, the whole reason I got a PhD was to be taken seriously, to have credibility. And like, my grandpa always would be like, oh, she's just a little tree hugger, and we don't agree with a lot of things, and so it was just like, how do I, as a woman, be taken seriously? And then I almost didn't finish, because I was like, I guess I was kind of doing it for them instead of me. And then there was just a part of me that was like, I just want to finish it and see what happens. And so I was kind of stubborn. And then now that I've been doing it for a little while, I was like, Like, I'm not a different person. I'm, and I learned a lot. I have no regrets. But that's not my path. Yeah. But it probably helped lead me to here because I got comfortable talking in front of classrooms filled with people. And so that helped because that was certainly one of my biggest fears, was just talking in front of people. I just kind of, but it's not about me. It's about the content and the material. And so it needs to be communicated, I think. But, yeah. Anything else? Did that answer your question? Anyone else? Anybody want to share part of their vision? Something they'd like to create?
Do it! Someone share. Anyone? Cara Jane.
I'm laying down doing my neck and breathing exercises. I'm listening. But I liked, Nikki, how you were, first of all, thank you for being on here. Everything you said has been awesome and it's so helpful. And it's cool because it relates to any goal or dream or vision. Like I like how you touched on each area of your life. But I definitely am wanting and have been wanting more time and financial freedom. And I think it's something that I need to get more specific about. And I do have those visions, like you were talking about your office. Like Garrett and I really want a camper. And I can like envision that camper, but I think I need to get more specific, like you're saying. I am so grateful now that I am making $300,000 a year in coaching or whatever. And also, really, I don't know if you do this or recommend this or have something like this, but write down that sentence, that goal every single day instead of just reading it, because I was doing that for a while. And it's one of those little things that I think you could just think it doesn't matter, but I find myself not looking at my goals every day. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even your vision is sacred, so you kind of look at it like a baby, and you don't, like, how often do you feed a baby? A lot. More than once a day, right?
A lot.
And so you want to feed your vision like that. So either writing it down or saying it out loud. And I think there's power in sharing it with the people who've earned the right to hear your story, because you don't want to just let anybody hold your newborn baby, right? Because that opens up the opportunity for people to discourage you, and then your paradigms start creeping up. And so, like, read it every day, look at it, and then ask yourself, maybe every day, what is one step I could take that would lead me into the direction of my dream? Or what's one step I could take in the next 5 minutes? Because there is power in the speed of implementation. So as soon as you have an idea, like, write it down, don't forget it. If there's electricity to it, there's a vibration to it, that's a sign. That's a sign that you're moving in the right direction. So maybe go scope out campers. Go pick out the one that you would love.
I see them driving around all the time. I want the cutest little Airstream.
I love it. Go inside of it.
That will only be big enough for Rex.
I love it. I can't wait to see it. Well, I can see it in my mind already. And so I love it. And so I don't know. My belief is so high because of my experience already. And so even if it's hard to believe for you, just believe in my belief for now, that this is whatever you want to create, and testing your dream, and like, it's completely possible. And so that might even mean turning up the volume on your self-worth, your value. Maybe you have to increase your prices or something to make it, or find a way to leverage your time on some level, or there's so many possibilities. I mean, you guys do a lot online, right? And so the possibilities there, and having support in place just launches that forward. This call is awesome that you guys have this and hold each other accountable. Like, that's big.
I have one more question for you I just thought of. Is in the program, once you decide on like the vision and you're going through this program, you said like when you finished you were like ready to attack your, like you already created 2 programs like less than a year. Is part of the program like helping you create your program, or is that just like what you do afterwards on your own?
No, yeah. I mean, we get really, really specific, and I think you keep working on it. It's a work in progress from the beginning, and so I don't tell you anything of what you should do or whatever, but I give you the tools to figure out what that is that you want and how to really listen to that and turn up the volume on that. And so you probably will have a very clear idea of what that is. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like, what would you love? So for me, I want to do this full time, but I want 20 hours a week to be full time. So there's some time freedom there, and I want to take people on retreats where we're diving into all this. So I want to teach yoga and work with the essential oils in Costa Rica and take people on hikes and get them out of their element and deep dive into this content. You know, that's my big vision, is to have these retreats. Or in Borneo, like I have this crazy dream of working with orangutans. Like, I love orangutans, and I want to help like the babies get, you know, or work with their motor skills, or the orphans that need to be brought back into the, I want us to do some kind of service work, like volunteer with that, or a women's shelter, or, you know. And so I have very specific details about all of that, and I'm still feeding it. I'm still putting in new things, and now I found this awesome coach that I want to work with that does yoga retreats around the world, and she makes a ton of money and focuses on the business element of that. And so it's like the people like will start showing up, or the right opportunities start to show up because you're in alignment with it. Yeah.
That is so cool. I love it. I love all this content. This is just so, I think this is just so good for all of us. Does anyone have questions? Because I don't want to shut it down unless you guys are good. Everyone's good? Thumbs? Yes. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Nikki. We really appreciate you getting on here. That was really valuable, and I think we can just get in touch with you on Facebook. Is that the easiest if anyone wants to take your program?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy if anybody wants to do a little deep dive, like a discovery session. I'd be happy to do that, and we can kind of explore, see if we'd be a good fit, and yeah, where you want to take this. So yeah, Facebook is great, or or my phone number or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I can post your info in our team page, and then people can just get with you that way.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and if there are a few of you that do it and want to be in a group together, that would be awesome, since you already have this support network. So I'm open to whatever. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I love that. Well, thank you again. We really appreciate it. Such good info, and you're great, and we love you, and thanks for getting on, everyone. And I'll put all that info in our page, and I'll stop this recording.